What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. This guy's challenging me to a duel, and he's done it twice now. His name is Seymour Butts. That's a great name. What a great name. I'm not going to duel him, though. Listen, Mr. Worgen. Yeah, get out of here. That's right, you better be scared. Oh. No, I'm scared. Alright, we're talking about Feral Druid today. I want to talk about a really cool build that I've been working on. I just worked on it yesterday. That kind of got introduced in 10.0.5. I did a video on this, I think, a couple weeks ago. But I actually tried it in a dungeon, and it was really cool. And I want to showcase it today. So, it's basically all about Ferocious Bite, okay? And it's mostly about these talents that got changed over here on the right-hand side, which Taste for Blood got changed. This got buffed to make Ferocious Bite deal 5% increased damage per bleed instead of 3%. So you can realistically get 15% more damage on your bites all the time because you're going to have Rake and Thrash and then Rip through Primal Wrath, of course. So 3 dots equals 15% more damage. Relentless Predator says Ferocious Bite energy cost goes down by 40%, which takes it from a 25 energy cost down to a 15, which is interesting. The way that this build works is essentially, instead of focusing on Primal Wrath, there's Seymour Butts, instead of focusing on Primal Wrath as our finisher that we just keep pressing over and over and over again and getting a bunch of tear open wounds damage, we are instead going to put Primal Wrath on the enemies and then just refresh it every 10 seconds. And every time we get 5 combo points, we're using Ferocious Bite instead. Because Ferocious Bite, if you guys don't know, cleaves with Rampant Ferocity. Ferocious Bite hits all enemies affected by Rip for 35% of the damage dealt. So, this is really, really cool. It means that we basically just use our Primal Wrath to put Rip on all the enemies, and it's just a maintenance buff. We're not using it over and over and over again. We're using it once every 10 seconds. Now, I was also taking Rip and Tear, and I think Rip and Tear was actually pretty good. Tear did about 3.2% of my damage, which is good. That's actually fine. Vein Ripper is an interesting idea because if Rip and Rake and Thrash last longer, then we can spend more time pressing Ferocious Bite. But realistically, I think that Rip and Tear is just better for damage. Mostly we are relying on Apex Predator to proc to continuously give us more Ferocious Bites, but even if we have to cast Ferocious Bites ourselves, they're going to be much cheaper to cast because of Relentless Predator. So, watch this for a second. We're going to go Rake plus Berserk, get some combo points going, and then Convoke, okay? Here we go. This here. Let's do Primal Wrath once, then we Convoke. Then we're going to bite. We're biting. We're biting. We're getting combo points, and we're biting. Now, Primal Wrath is falling off, so we equip it again. Sorry, we add it again. Now we're biting. Bite. And this, and then we're going to bite. And then we're going to bite. And then we're going to get our Primal Wrath going again in a second. There we go. I let it fall off for a little bit there. That wasn't very good. There's a free bite. We're biting again. Thrash. Rake. And we'll do Primal Wrath because it's falling off. Okay. Thrash. We got a free bite into a regular bite. Okay. There we go. We get our Primal Wrath back up. Don't let your Primal Wrath fall off. You need to keep your Primal Wrath on. Ooh, I just did a bad filler there. That was a mistake. But you want to press as your main finisher. You want to press Ferocious Bite. That's what you're doing. Convoke's coming back. We're going to get our dots back online first. Then we're going to Convoke right now. Then we're going to bite, and our dots are falling off. We'll do one more round of dots into a bunch of bites. Okay, bite, into this, into bite again. There you go. That's how that works. So my item level is only 389 right now, and we were sustaining about 110, 115k. You can see Rampant Ferocity goes way up here. Ferocious Bite hits all enemies affected by your Rip for 35%. And then the Ferocious Bite damage itself is very high, and this is really interesting to me. One of the big reasons why I think this is kind of a cool build, number one, the Rampant Ferocity damage is actually seriously good. Like, it's a dependable amount of damage. But number two is that you can now funnel your damage into one target with Ferocious Bite. Primal Wrath hits all enemies in front of you. and does, 5,000 damage, which is great to all the enemies. But what if you want to focus down one target? Well, you can actually do that with this Ferocious Bite build, because Ferocious Bite ends up doing like 18,000 damage plus whatever energy you're spending on one enemy, and then it cleaves that damage. So it just means that you can actually funnel all your damage into one target and also be getting the cleave on top of that. You can see we had a couple of crits here for 73k. You can just pump one target for 73k, 80k, 100k, and if I had gear, I'm nowhere near fully geared yet. I'm down like 20 item levels, basically. Realistically speaking, 25 item levels. So I have like a tank trinket on as well. So this is pretty cool. Let me just show you in a dungeon what it looks like. Okay, here's the dungeon. And we had an Alcathar Academy plus 11 that I did. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I just want to show you some of the AoE here. Let me make sure this is all cranked up. There we go. So this is us. He's gathering up all the mobs here. And we're starting our AoE right now. I'm into Berserk. And I'm trying to get as many bites as I can. There's my Convoke. I think Convoke is one of the things you could change in this build. I don't think you have to keep Convoke. But we're just biting here. And of course, in AoE, you just keep getting resets on Tiger Lust, right? Which is really good. We're doing 160k here. I know lots of other people at this point in the expansion are doing more than 160k. I know that. But just remember what my gear level is here, right? I'm only 389. This is probably an okay amount of damage for that item level. This enemy is left to adjust. But basically, you have your 3 dots on the enemies. And in fact, you actually have 4 dots. This is actually why there's more value in taking Rip and Tear. And I forgot about that. Tear is an additional dot, right? So this Taste for Blood talent that buffs your Ferocious Bite. 5% more damage per bleed on the target, right? So you have Rake, Thrash, Rip. And then you have Tear. And then during Berserk, you have the Berserk one as well on all nearby enemies. So you can have 5 dots during Berserk, which is 25% more damage on your Ferocious Bites, which again, you can funnel into one target. And then that funnel damage is going to also splash because of Rampant Ferocity. So it's a really interesting idea. I think I'm actually pumping a ton of damage here. Oh no, I stood in it. I'm pumping a ton of damage here for my item level. Honestly, I think it's really good. It's a little bit more complicated to pull off because you have to make sure you're maintaining your Primal Wrath, which falls off every 10 seconds, which is an annoyingly short amount of time. Sorry, I was talking to somebody on the stream. So it is annoyingly short that your Primal Wrath is only 10 seconds of duration. So you could take Vein Ripper to extend that, but I still think that Tear is going to be better because you are able to get that additional dot for more Ferocious Bite damage. There's a look right there at that. This is what it kind of looks like here. Rip is still going to be our number 1 damage, but Rampant Ferocity is close at 2nd. And then look at Ferocious Bite. It's number 3 because I was biting so many times. I wasn't even trying to funnel damage here. But again, if you had a particular Mythic Plus week where you wanted to funnel damage into particular mobs, this is exactly how you could do that, right? Think about like Halls of Valor. The first hallway in Halls of Valor, there's that big dragon, right? You pull all the mobs to that dragon. You need to focus down that dragon, especially if it's bolstering, which I think it is right now. This week, I think, is bolstering. So you want to make sure that you're not letting all the little enemies bolster that one big enemy, and you can priority target that one enemy down, the dragon, or whatever dungeon. Pick a dungeon, pick a mob. You know what I'm talking about. So that's how the build works. I think it's really interesting. And I think it's really fun to play. First of all, I really enjoyed playing it. But I also just think it actually does well. The damage surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I thought it wasn't going to do very much damage. But it really does surprise me. So I think this is how you can kind of build it. You could take Relentless Predator. Or you could get rid of this and maybe add Feral Frenzy for single target damage. And then on single target damage, you would have Rake, Rip, Thrash, Tear, Feral Frenzy, and the bleed from your Berserk. That's 6 bleeds on the enemy during Berserk, and your Ferocious Bite would be doing 30% more damage on single target. So that might be a way to modify the build as well. I think there's a couple of ideas you could go with here. So, but for now, this is just kind of the tray head setup. I think you can drop Tear Open Wounds because you're going to be pressing Ferocious Bite instead of Primal Wrath. You're not going to be getting the 4-second consumption here and getting the extra damage. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think this is a really interesting idea. I think it's a really cool build, and I'm just enjoying it a lot. So I'm going to keep gearing up my Druid, make sure that I actually get enough gear and the right trinkets so that I can bring this to you in a higher key. That was only a plus 11. I'd love to do like a plus... I feel like this just scales into the higher keys. I'd love to do like a plus 18 or something. So I'll try and do that this week for you guys, and I will report back and let you know what happens. But let me know what you think in the comments down below about the Bite build for Feral Druid. I think it's interesting, and I would love to hear what you guys think. If any of you have tried this, definitely let me know. All right, thanks, guys. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.